Hey, I know. Um, I checked on my fix, see if there was any feedback or anything. Um, and I realized on this one, someone said it didn't have audio, so I'm gonna re-record it, see if I can get it out today. I hope I can get it out today because, uh, I really hope I can. But anyways, I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. But let's get started. This is Tiana Bar by Atia Blackcharm. Chapter 17. Hands have many purposes. Summary. A helping hand is given. It was early in the morning, around 4 a.m., and Sako at the Shimuro was awake. Everyone else was asleep. Dobby and Toga, having returned and gone to the room where Spinner was, had gone to the room where Spinner was in, probably to push the poor fellow out. Probably to push the poor fellow off and take the bed for themselves. Kirikiri was doing something in the back. Twice the magne was still sleeping in their respective booths. Shigaraki sleeping and sleeping in his room away from the others. Sako was cleaning some of his mask in one of the booths when he heard someone gasp for air. Then he heard as if someone was trying to catch their breath but having a hard time doing so. He got up and walked over to the couch where it was coming from. As Sako walked closer he could see Midoriya sitting up and sitting up a little hunched over, with one hand coming to his side and the other gripping the cloth of his pants tightly. He could hear Midoriya taking a gulp of air and letting it out quickly, not quite near hyperventilation, but nowhere near a normal breathing rate. It seemed that the young hero had a nightmare. Midoriya had not yet noticed Compress until the man sat down on the couch, a few feet away from him. Wide green eyes whipped up to look at Sako's brown eyes. The man's mask was off, and so was the blacka, if I'm pronouncing that right, mask he wore underneath it. It was funny to see as Green Eyes took in the new details that were in view, that Midoriya's bre- that were in view, that Midoriya's breathing calmed down. Hello, little hero. It seemed that you had a nightmare. Quite dreadful those are, Sako said in a soft voice, not to wake up the others sleeping pardons in the bar. As Midoriya's breathing slowed down, the boy managed to get a word out. Mr. Compress? Yes, it is, I. Although I do have another name, one you may have privilege of learning if you play your cards right. Sako was pleased with a small uptick in Midoriya's mouth, although he was not pleased to see the cut on the boy's lip, red and bleeding somewhat. Did the boy bite his lip in his sleep? He was brought out of his thoughts when Midoriya spoke again. You have curly hair, Midoriya stated, his eyes looking at the brown curls on Sako's head, a bit more disheveled than usually than usual. consider the time. The man smiled and brought his hand up, a hand to go through his hair. You, you do as well. Much curlier than mine, I must say. Messier, too. The boy in front of him let out a huff of air in amusement, seeming seeming to have gotten control of his breathing. The only thing that he had been distressed were the dark circles under the green eyes, the slight sheen of sweat on the boy's face, and some shaking in his hands. Mr. Compress had also noted how Izuku had not removed one of his hands from his side. "Perhaps you need one of the many things Dobby bought from the store?" he asked. Midoriya tilted his head in confusion. "Dobby found you in the medicine aisle, and he brought you back quite an array of items." "I'm sure you were there to get something, so do you need to use something at the moment?" He saw how Midoriya frowned slightly, and looked a little hesitant to give an answer. Um, it took a moment before the boy responded. Yeah, I do." In a flourish, Compress stood up and beckoned Midoriya to follow him. "Then let's get then let's eh, then let us retreat to the bar. Everything is on the counter." Sacco saw how Midoriya winced when he got onto one of the bar seats. The boy went ahead and organized the items into different piles: pain meds, creams, bandages, medicine tape, and gauze. While Midoriya was doing this, Kirigiri came out from the back and paused at the sight of Compress and Midoriya at the bar. He looked at Sacco with a look like questioning yellow glowing eyes, but said nothing. The war villain's attention was drawn away from Sacco when Midoriya spoke. "Hi, Kirigiri." "Hello, Midoriya. It seems it's a pleasure to see you again. Would you like some tea?" Uh, no. Can I have some water instead?" Midoriya said, as he just poured 2 pills of pain medication mm, on, poured two pain medications on onto his palm of his hand. A moment later, Midoriya was swallowing 2 pills and drinking from the cup of water Kirigiri set before him. When Sacco didn't see Midoriya pick anything else from the pile of supplies, he huffed and turned Midoriya's bar seat to face him. At Midoriya's surprised face, Sacco smiled. "Surely you know that you need more than 2 simple pills. You have you not noticed the cut on your lip?" Compressed grabbed some gauze and asked Kirigiri for some more water. And then a quick "one moment." Sacco left, washed his hands, and returned. The man quickly took his spot in the seat that Midoriya was in, facing and grabbing the gauze. He put some water on it before turning to Midoriya. "All right, I'm going to clean the cut, so don't move." And then Sacco placed a hand under Midoriya's chin to hold him in place, while the other held the gauze. It was a funny scene of Izuku Midoriya sitting patiently while a villain gently held his face and cleaned out the cut on his lip. The boy seemed a bit confused at what was happening, but did not shy away from the approximately um a proximity between him and Compress. Meanwhile, Compress was talking. So tragic to see a young man's face marred by injuries. Hopefully, it does not scar off any future potential suitors. What do you think, Kiri? Kirigiri. Kirigiri looked at Sako and then at Midoriya. Green eyes, one of them surrounded by bruising, looked at him curiously, and Kirigiri had to admit he found some amusement in the scene before him. I don't think Midoriya will have any issue in that department, Mr. Compress. At, at that, Sako smiled. Ah, yes, you are correct. Brown eyes flittered back to green in amusement. Di- didn't we all agree that you had, what was it, good looks, like you said before leaving last time? It seemed that Midoriya did remember as he blushed slightly and smiled. You're right, that did happen, the boy said. Indeed it did. So I'll do my best insurance your good looks are not held back by this ghastly this ghastly cut on your lip. I'm almost done cleaning it up. I do believe there is some cream you can put on the cut. You can put on it too. Antiseptic cream? Antiseptic cream? I don't know. Midoriya offered. Yes, that would do the trick. You can put that on yourself. You can put that on by yourself, Sako said, noting how Midoriya quickly knew the next step. Just how often did the boy have to do this for himself? Before Compress went to go wash his hands again, he saw Midoriya found the cream, and he looked pleased to see the cut. The cut the cut seemed to look better than it had when Midoriya woke woken up from his nightmare. When he returned, Midoriya was sitting at the bar and Compress sat next to him. The two were watching as Kirigiri went about rearranging the liquor bottles and glasses. They didn't talk. Midoriya seemed to have reached his limits of words. There was a heaviness around the boy. Sako still sat beside him, though. Eventually, he grabbed his mask from the booth and gone back to cleaning them on the bar counter. At one point, he gave Midoriya one of his masks and the spray and the cloth. He been cleaning had been cleaning them. Under Sako's watchful eye, the boy cleaned it without speaking. Compress was pleased to note that Midoriya was very gentle with his mask, like he was last time. When the sun rose and the other villains slowly woke up, they had they found Midoriya behind the bar. The boy had a cloth in his hands and was cleaning glasses. Kirigiri was right behind him, cleaning the counter. The warp villain was rather ob- obsessive about cleaning the cleanliness of his bar and glasses. The scene was enough to make Shigaraki pause and mutter, "What the fuck?" underneath his breath. When Spinner came in, clearly more of a morning person than everyone else, and was about to speak, Kirigiri um opened a warp and enveloped the man's head. Spinner's voice could be heard in some other part of the building. A second later, Spinner's Spinner pulled his head out of the warp and looked sheep, sheepish. No, pulled his head out of the warp with a sheepish look on his face. Oh, sorry about that. Everyone else was luckily was more subdued in the morning hours, and would quickly accept the breakfast that Kirigiri made for them, including Midoriya, sent a grateful look when he found food waiting for him as well. No one said anything, though, when it was um, becoming time that Midoriya would have to go to school. They didn't say anything when it passed the hour that his classes would have started, because Midoriya didn't say anything either. Izuku was perfectly aware of the hour that was creeping up on him as he was in the bar. It was it was time for him to start heading to school. But that was the last thing he wanted to do. He didn't want to see he didn't want to face Bakugo, afraid uh afraid that he wouldn't see the present boy, but the middle school version. Even if he didn't, it was clear that the time would not change how Bakugo burned him with ease. He didn't want to face All Might. The bitterness threatened to envelop him. At the thought of the man was the reason that Izuku was in pain. He didn't understand how Yagi-san could put him in such a situation. He remembered how Aizawa sensei told him that he was not going to be put in another situation with Bakugo. He knew that Aizawa sensei didn't lie. That was clear that the man was angry at All Might after his match. Somehow, All Might was able to change things with his exam. He wondered how things would have gotten if he actually fought with the teammate he was supposed to. He he was supposed to against the teacher he was supposed to. He could have learned. He could have learned, but that opportunity was thrown away once his mentor was involved. That got involved. The man had seemingly oblivious and or just uncaring. He thought that he thought about how Aizawa Sensei was worried, how his classmates seemed worried about him. Then he thought about the woman with the beauty mark on her chin and what she had said to him. She told him not to be hard on himself, that he could rest, and it was okay. So he decided not to say anything about the time, and he stayed. He was too tired to do anything else. Shota didn't like how he walked into class that Midoriya's seat was empty. Before class start, he asked if anyone seen Midoriya. Everyone said no. That twisted feeling in his gut returned. It worsened when he heard snippets of his students' conversations saying how the problem child had not responded to the group or separate chats at all. Apparently, they were planning to do a shopping trip before the training camp. The training camp was about the training camp was to happen in 4 days. The last day of school was today. Aizawa wondered if Midoriya just simply didn't want to come to school. He would understand anybody would want a small break, but there was underlying sense of unease at the fact that his student had not shown up, not had spoken to anybody. He, but he momentarily pushed the thought aside when he went into the teacher's lounge and he saw Nezu and All Might. At the sight of the number one hero, of what his the the sight the sight of the number one hero flashes of his student lying on the ground in the alley and in the infirmary bed, silently crying while holding his hand tightly, appeared in his mind. Something that should never happen. He activated his quirk quickly. he, he he activated his quirk and quickly strode up to the man. All Might barely turned to see the underground hero before Shota's fist made contact with his face. All activities in the lounge came to a standstill. Everyone froze at what they just seen. Shota Aizawa, a racerhead, punched Yagi Tortionari in the face. All Might in the face, the number one hero. Yagi stumbled back, but not but did not fall. The man brought a hand to his face and in pure bewilderment at what just happened. There was some blood coming from the corner of its mouth. Aizawa, what is the mean? Shut up. I can't. That did not come out how I wanted it. Shut the fuck up. Shota said in a cutting tone that instantly made. Oh my god. Give me a second. Ugh. Shota said in a cutting tone instantly made Yagi stop talking. There was a pressure in the air coming from Shota, and everyone else was too afraid to move. None wanted to draw Shota's attention to them. When Shota stepped forward, Yagi stepped back. You don't deserve to be here. Nezu and I made that very clear, what you were not to do, and yet you completely ignored it. You put my student in a situation that he should never have been in. You hurt him. Yagi started looking awkward and brought a hand as if to placate Shota like he was a wild animal. Now, Aizawa, I wouldn't go as far as say I hurt young Midoriya. I did I did what I thought was best, and but it seemed that he did, as more words continued to come out of Yagi's mouth, the pressure in the air increased, and everyone took a step back. The next thing the number one hero knew was that he was cut off by someone grabbing a fistful of his tie and shirt, dangerously close to cutting off his air supply. Black eyes bored into Yagi's blue eyes, and the man felt as if his mouth were dry. Even without his quirk, Shota made the hero feel a sense of fear that he did not often feel. How could you? And you can't even comprehend what you done wrong, he said, but he said lowly, but everyone could hear it clear as day. How is it that you are the number one hero? Young, young, Yagi's eyes slowly left Shota's face and landed on Nezu, who was watching the scene without his typical smile. He sent a pleading look to the principal to step in. The mammal simply closed his eyes and spoke. "That's a question I feel like I do not know the answer to, Aizawa." With Nezu's words, the tension seemed to break, and Shota looked at Yagi with seeming disinterest. Changed. How his expression changed was startling. Before letting go of Yagi's shirt and pushing the man um, a bit back at the jester, then Shota walked out the lounge with Nezu following after him. They just need a really good, really, really, really good scene of All Might just getting punched over and okay, I'm not a fan of him. I have not been a fan of him in a long time. At first, yeah, I was a fan, and then I realized what he did. I found out things he did, and then I was like, oh my god, he's stupid. But I do every now and then I do enjoy a good Dad might fic. But I don't like him. Straight up. I don't like him. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed. Um I'm gonna try to get out 18 next week. So yay. It's gonna really depend too. Cause rest of tomorrow is midterms. Monday I have another midterm. On Tuesday I have an ACT, which means more testing. But but yay. So let me so not next week. Not the next. Okay, so the 24th to the 28th, that is my spring break. So if I'm available, I'm gonna try to do several podfics between those, I'm gonna say 4 days. Between those 4 days. So I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all really loved it. I hope y'all um eat, sleep, get all your rest, cause bruh, I've been sleeping so much lately. But it's because I have trouble sleeping. But that's a whole nother a rant for another time. But anyways, hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye, lovelies.